And I'll tell you this, you guys who are here, the leaders of Gen Zs, I want to tell you something you didn't know. Do you know that on 25th of June, you guys would have had the Republic if you had leadership?
Guys, if you've not had a look at this epic confrontation between MORARA and KASMUEL Makure on Citizen TV this morning, you got to have a look at it. Now, this was one of those moments where two brilliant young leaders in the Gen Z movement, you know, some of the most articulate and polished young guys we have around, had a major clash on live TV. Now, there seems to be a supremacy tussle of sorts between these two in terms of who truly is the organic, is the true leader of the Gen Z movement. KASMUEL Makure, of course, was the big name during the June 25th Gen Z protests and the month that followed. He was literally everywhere on TV speaking on behalf of the Gen Z movement. But MORARA then came with his Vampire Diaries and swept the board. He got massive support from Kenyans, especially financially. Kenyans gave a lot of money to MORARA, and I think that is what prompted KASMUEL to switch camps, because he did not feel the appreciation. He has said this before. He did not feel the appreciation from the public for the amount of work he was putting in the movement, sometimes neglecting his daily job. And so he trooped off into the open arms of ODM. Now, it was interesting to see them sharing a forum today, and they did not disappoint. It was fireworks. But don't miss the wisdom right at the end from Arnold Maliba, you know, the UDA policy advisor. He told these young people that this kind of bickering is what is gonna prevent them from getting power. So guys, get your popcorn out, watch, enjoy, and subscribe and like. Let's grow this channel together.
There is a third issue that we've forgotten, which I want to put into perspective, and that is the issue of importation of labor. Now, most of the big contracts, as KASMUEL has pointed out this morning, first let me congratulate him for behaving very well this morning. He does not behave like a member of ODM who is part of the broad-based government.
I will ask him whether he's a member of ODM.
I injected him and it is working. So there is the issue of importation of labor into our country.
Trevor, I think I've said this time without number, and I'm a person who does not hide any of the moves that I make. Whenever we were on the streets agitating for good governance, the war on graft and accountability in government, I went all out. Then when I realized that there were some sinister machinations with some of the people who are on the front lines being super obsessed with grant writing and fundraising, chanting down with American imperialism by day, at night going to have meetings at the embassy, everybody chanting Ruto must go in the morning, and in the evening trying to secure appointments with the state, I realized that we're dealing with a political problem. And this is where now I would like to put every political party that is on this table to the light. If you think about Inject, it came at a time when we had agreed that we were supposed to just keep this as a movement. But then a man who once went on record asking us, what do we mean by Ruto must go, comes along and whips up the public's emotions, sources for funds, some from dubious sources, and because it has to be justified in the public, culminates into a party which lacks ideology, a party which founding members and strong members have come out to castigate, to say that the party leader is serving nothing but self-interests. And this is something that we had seen prior. And this is why there are reasons why I could not work with such a party, because you find there's a party where a man has just shown up, and then the party chair is his classmate, then he's just surrounded by a few men with dubious characters. And the problem with people like MORARA is, you know, because he thinks he's a carpenter, is closer to Christ. You think about the UDA, which was also a special purpose vehicle to win an election. But if you're looking for a progressive, pro-people movement that has consistently fought for the rights and basic human dignity of the people, you can only find it in the Orange Democratic Movement.
Okay. Yes,
let me just say this. My brother KASMUEL has said that well, sometimes I think because I'm a carpenter, I'm closer to Christ. And it will not be further from the truth. I am indeed close to Christ. But you see, the problem with our friend KASMUEL is that he thinks that because Akili ni nywele and he has a lot of it, then he knows more. The truth is that whatever he is doing at ODM is something I did there 7 years ago. I was a youth leader in ODM when I was 22 years old.
Prove it, because this is just hearsay.
I even have a picture I'm going to show you right now. Just right now, not later. I was in ODM together with Kinababu Owino, a long, long time ago. In fact, I remember at that time, I spent some of my HELB money to pay for a premium membership. I remember it was Kenya shillings 20,000. I had a lot of hope in ODM. I believed in it. My parents have supported ODM. I was at ODM at some point, so whatever he's doing now is something I did 7 years ago. So in terms of experience, political experience, I'm 7 years ahead of him, and I can give him a little bit of education about what happens in ODM. The first thing I'm going to tell him is one of the reasons we have corruption in Kenya is because there is corruption in political parties. Because when you sell tickets to candidates at a cost of 10 million to be a member of parliament, the first thing this person, when he becomes a member of parliament, will do will be to recover the money that they have spent.
I want us to stay away from hearsay. Because
now we are wondering.
All right.
Then here was, now how then can the younger people organize?
Let's go into
so
the
that
because we could also say the same of inject. Because
let's not look at
let me ask this question. Which are some of the most corrupt counties in Kenya in terms of the corruption index, wastage of public funds? Because corruption is not only in the UDA government.
The EACC is investigating all the counties.
Yes. The corruption
come back to how the young people organize to take power. You have started your own party.
Let me just finish on my point.
To meet the president
corruption
so
is also. Do we agree that there's corruption in ODM counties?
In all counties.
We agree
there's
corruption in inject as well. We've seen
actually corruption is a Kenyan problem.
Yes, said that
in your own party, which is supposed to be revolutionary.
Let's come back to the main members. The main idea is how do the young people organize
so that you
to participate,
make a change in
to participate either in leadership or to take power. Definitely joining the mainstream political parties is not the way.
Okay.
Because when we went for the Gen Z protests, we were denying or we were rejecting the old order of things, where there is mainstreamed corruption in our government, assisted by political parties, which they themselves have become corrupt within their ranks and encourage corruption and tokenism. So the best way would have been to run a movement based on new values, based on the new Kenya that we want to see as young people and the future that we want. Now, most of the political parties in Kenya, and this you'll agree with me, are actually ethnic based. So you'll find there's a political party in Kenya for the people of Western, all right, like ANC and Ford Kenya. You'll find that there's a political party which most of its support comes from, like he joined ODM because he's from that ethnic community. They want to hold meetings in Doluo. So that is why he thought it wise to join ODM party.
The highest membership of ODM is from the Western region, but that's not the answer.
So
that's a different
because of that,
if you have to throw a jump, make it
have are ethnic. We are discussing political parties. So the best way for young leaders, because now we are talking about young people. These young people are going to be organized by young leaders like myself. The best way to do it is to form political parties that are not based on ethnicity. To form political parties that are nationwide.
Completely new.
The Secretary General of the Inject Party, he talks about the Inject Party not having an ideology. The Inject Party has an ideology. We have a party constitution. We have a party slogan saying, tunaamini itabadilika. We believe that it will change. If you look at our policy, if you look at Article 2.3 of the Inject Party Constitution, number 1 is to fight corruption. Number 2 is economic transformation. Number 3 is civic empowerment. Number 4, institutional reform. Number 5, environmental sustainability. Number 6 is justice.
But those are points.
Those are ideologies of our party.
Every now, social studies textbook has that.
They might have it in writing. We have it at heart. My Secretary General at Inject Party is a Maasai. It's called Solonka Pareno.
Was he or was he not your classmate?
The person who is in charge, look, Orengo was with Raila.
That's what we are saying. What
is wrong with working with my classmate?
Yes, then what is wrong?
If I trust him enough to work with him, it's exceptional. It's beautiful. How many classmates are working together?
We don't have a problem with you working with
the Secretary General.
But you blaming other people for doing the exact thing you're doing, is that what we have?
I've not blamed Raila for working with his classmates.
Yes. No.
I'm blaming him for taking advantage of the Gen Z demonstration, riding on the blood of the youth who have died to benefit himself economically and have positions
also, you know, you've taken this thing where you want to legitimize your part of the struggle with blood. That's why you would lead people against the popular temper. For example, you took your people to Narok where only you were not hurt, but your teammates were hurt. So you want to legitimize your struggle thinking it deserves blood. And we keep on telling you that if you're trying to transform
only way I become part of my
if you're
team
trying to transform it, no, you're not listening.
Come on,
if you want to truly transform this country, where you have to be absolutely honest in your dealings, because the thing which you're doing is trying to, and there's this narrative that you've been trying to see where you're driving sympathy or you're driving, I do not have a problem with you changing campaign financing, I do not have a problem with you unearthing projects. What I have a problem with is you trying to pull certain stunts to try and whip up emotion, because the new thing which you're trying to drive and which even your founding members...
Let me agree with you.
Yes, even your founding members...
If you have a part of this...
Can we also be part and parcel of this conversation? Because you asked the question and it's ended up being a MORARA versus KASMUEL.
Only Arnold.
So
they need to meet in parliament.
No, sorry to Arnold.
You are not sorry.
To you, I'm not. To Arnold, I'm sorry.
Wait, so quickly, Trevor, let me say this. You ask a very important question. And I look at everybody here and they look like they have got heads on their shoulders. And as it is said, that to whom sense is given, wisdom is expected. First of all, we are at a time where we are on what I love to call a generational handover. No one argues with age and wins. The people ahead of us, whether they like it or not, they actually are transitional. The conveyor belt that is actually life has a way of checking out guys. My question would be, are millennials and Gen Zs ready to actually take over government? Because this bickering is very much like what we've seen before. The only difference here is the voices and the looks, but this bickering is quite textbook to what we've seen in our politics. It's textbook to what we've seen before.
This is exactly what we don't want.
This is exactly where we don't want to go.
No.
Now, as young people, how do we organize and come together? First of all, being young is not a qualification for leadership. You must bring more than youth. But also, it's important to remind young people that almost everything that is great on earth was done by young people. So whereas being youth is not a qualification for leadership, it's also important to underscore that even Jesus Christ, whom MORARA thinks is closer to because he's a carpenter, achieved almost everything when he was a youth.
I will draw, honorable member.
So, my word will be this. For the young people out there. First of all, KASMUEL, congratulations for joining ODM.
Asante.
Outside of a political party organizing, everything that you are doing looks like you are on a bouncing castle. You know, elders, watu wakubwa huwa wanakaa wanakula nyama, wanasema mambo serious ya biashara na watoto wameweka kwa bouncing castle. A lot of the activities we are doing out here, and bouncing castle is good for the kids, strengthens their bonds, makes them active, but the big idea is that it gives watu wakubwa time to do their business as the kids keep busy. So if you don't go into political spaces, you are not going to change much. And I'll tell you this, you guys who are here, the leaders of Gen Zs, I want to tell you something you didn't know. Do you know that on 25th of June, you guys would have had the Republic if you had leadership? But you didn't have leadership because a lot of you had not been trained and did not have that understanding that everything rises and falls on leadership. When you call yourself leaderless, on 25th, I am one person, by the way, I think myself and Domtata are the only other people who have done a demonstration that got to State House. I know, and I have told you before that I will never advise anybody to take people to State House because on that day, niliona mvua ya umbwa. It's a story for another day. You can find it elsewhere. If you guys only had leadership, that's what I'm telling you, that leadership is important. Mentorship is important. Working with the older people. 1992 was only possible because the young Turks of then, the Muhisa Mkitui of them, were working with the Jaramogis of that particular time, the Matibas, and that is why 1992 was possible. We might not really like that idea at the moment because it's not popular. But I'll tell you that if you bring the energy of the youth and the wisdom, but I don't know whether it is Seneca who said that if it were not for the old people telling young people what not to do, there would be no state.
Okay.
So we need to find a place in political parties. And by the way, you are doing a good thing. Register a party.
Let me know your thoughts on the comment section. Thanks for your time. If you are new to this channel, please take a moment to subscribe, give this video a big like and leave a comment, and also hit the bell button so you get notified when you post next time. God bless you. Aluta continue. Peace. See you later.